Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly podcast. I am Tony Gerdeman, here as always with Tom Orr. Tom, how are you doing?
Great. So excited for this weekend's spring game. Can't wait.
It's going to be a barn burner. We are looking forward to it. So this is, Tom, we're going to do a spring game draft here, and I want to set something up. On Friday, I was on the Mark Rogers YouTube thing, and Steve Hellwagon was talking about how he was doing this series of looking back on every draft class of the last 25 years. And after he got done explaining it, I was like, funny enough, I'm going to do that same thing, but I'm going to wait for you to do all of the research and put all the classes out there, and then I'll just do my own thing. And so we had talked about doing this spring game draft for a couple days. And then Monday morning, you texted me and showed me that another podcast was already doing the spring game draft. And we were both like, well, but then you're like, we can still do it. And so here we are.
Here we are. And we did have this conversation at some point last week. And we're also, let's just throw this out there, put this out there in the world. We're doing a pregame show Saturday. So if any of you jerks steal that idea, that's fine.
And it's the reaction show.
We'll see. At least a pregame show. We'll see. I think I'm going to record that one outside. We're gonna really, unless it's raining. I haven't checked the forecast.
Although raining would be perfect. That would be ideal.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
I will not be out in the rain.
I'll also need to get my son to walk by with like a loudspeaker blaring music occasionally to really, really set the tone for. Now it really feels like a Buckeye Weekly pregame show because we have music blasting somewhere from that we can't control.
I will have somebody walk by saying, "Hey, do you want my picture? Only $5."
Who could that be?
No,
could be anyone.
It could be anyone. I mentioned that person today when I tweeted out that they're saying that they don't think fans will be allowed in the stadiums at first, but that fans is plural. And what about just singular fan? And if you're going to allow one singular fan into an Ohio State game, who else is it going to be? Who else should it be?
Literally anyone else?
Whatever, Tom. That's your opinion.
Like if they could let 100,000 fans in there, I'm not sure that the person you're suggesting would be on my list of the first 100,000. I'd let visiting fans in first.
Visiting Michigan super fans who aren't as super as they used to be. Their powers have dwindled. And of course, the kryptonite of a Michigan super fan is scarlet and gray. Any type of thing that is scarlet or gray doesn't have to be some green crystal like Superman. That could be anything, scarlet, gray, and instantly, that they're done for.
They also derive their powers from the Earth's yellow sun, but since the Ohio State-Michigan game is always played in a cloudy day, overcast, then they can never take advantage of that. So
it's a shame. So Tom, we flipped a coin, and by saying flipped a coin, you told me I could pick the colors, and you get to pick who picked first. And so I gave you gray, and I am scarlet. But now that means you get to open up the draft. And we're going to do it under Jim Tressel rules, which is you open up a position, and then once you open up a position, that position has to be all drafted. So if Tom's going to draft Zach Harrison first, we're going to run through the entire defensive line. And we'll mostly stick with the scholarship guys, and then maybe throw in a walk-on or two if we have to fill out our roster. And then, after each position group, we'll give a little bit of recap and tell you how awesome my team is, how awesome the Scarlet Buckeyes are compared to Tom's ill-prepared, less talented gray team. Does that sound okay to you, Tom?
I hope you're ready to shovel mulch in the virtual Buckeye Grove, because you're going down, friend.
Well,
Gert has threatened to take these teams when we're done and put them in a modified version of NCAA 2012 and play it out. And I assume, since I'm not going to be there to watch, he's going to play it out as many times as it takes for his team to win.
I was just going to sim it, but you're right. I should play it. And, I don't know how all of your 66s are going to do, or I'll make your team, your players, at least 69s. How they're going to do against my 99s? I don't think it's going to go well for you. But so we are also drafting this as if they would be playing. So you draft Justin Fields, but he's only going to play maybe. Will he play a half? Maybe Tom.
See. We're going to find out very quickly because my first position group is going to be quarterbacks, and you're not going to believe this. I'm going to take Justin Fields because he's only started for 1 year. I think he's playing at least a half, maybe into the second half. He played into the second half last year, so I think I think there's a pretty good chance he plays into the second half this year.
Well, and with you taking Justin Fields, then I have to take Gunnar Hoke.
Yes.
Because I need an experienced guy, and then where do you go?
Well, are we doing this snake draft style? Don't you get the third pick, or do I get the third pick?
No, we'll do this. We'll just go through it, alternate.
Well, then I guess I'll take C.J. Stroud.
I guess I have to go with Jack Miller, and I like that. I've got the 2 best passers on the team, and then. I think do we want to continue on to Danny Vanatsky or JP Andrade or Jagger LaRoe, or are we good with these guys?
I think we're good. I think we only need to delve into walk-ons if we get into
an uneven thing.
Situations where they're uneven. Yes, if there's an odd number of scholarship guys, we can do that.
All right, and Tom, much like you, before we started the show, you said you didn't do a lot of preparation. Neither did I.
Yeah, I'm familiar enough with the quarterbacks to feel like Justin Fields is probably pretty clearly the best one on the roster without having done a ton of preparation. And as I dig deeper into the team later this spring, perhaps I'll change my mind in that. But I'm feeling pretty good about the fact that I've got the best quarterback on the roster right there.
And I had to go with Gunnar Hoke because if I didn't, then you would have had the 2 most experienced guys. And we don't know. We can't rely on the freshmen just yet because remember, they've only had 3 practices. You can't just throw them into a spring game after 3 practices.
Yeah, if you think about how rough true freshman quarterbacks can look in, during the fall, after 3 practices, I mean, just watching them go through drills at the beginning of the spring, it's like, oh, that's a little, they don't know quite what they're doing yet. I mean, we saw flashes from both of those guys in the first practice of the year that we got to watch, but it was like flashes, and those flashes translated to, wow, this could be an occasionally impressive 5 for 16 passing performance in a spring game right now. And that's probably about what you're getting from both of those guys if they did have to play the spring game after three practices.
So now I will open up the next position group, and I almost went with defensive ends, and I was thinking, they can't hit the quarterback, but touch sacks are the order of the day. So I will open up the defensive line, and I will select Zach Harrison.
That's spicy. Now, I really have to think and make sure I'm remembering exactly who was injured if anyone was injured at the beginning of spring. I believe Tyreek Smith was healthy, right? He was practicing.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Right. Yeah.
Ask me. Yeah.
And are we treating defensive ends and defensive tackles as separate positions?
No, let's do the entire defensive line.
Do the entire defensive line. Okay.
But you already took your finger off of the Tyreek Smith checker,
okay. Well,
didn't
then in that case, I'm going to take Tommy Togiai instead.
See, now you're forcing me to go to the defensive tackle route, and I will select Haskell Garrett because I need an experienced interior beefy person.
I'm going to go with Teron Vincent here.
We don't know about him, man. I mean, he's healthy, but we don't know.
He was practicing. Mm-hmm. He was practicing. We don't know if he's 100%. Fortunately, I don't want to ruin the surprise here. There's not actually a game on Saturday, so it's going to be okay.
All right.
I think if you, but the fact that he was practicing a little bit on practice number 1 when we got to watch, I think I'd feel reasonably confident he would be able to go on Saturday if there was a game.
Then I am now going to select Tyreek Smith since you were afraid to. Now, I see, Tom, you got a couple defensive tackles, but you need you some pass rushers.
Mm-hmm. Fortunately, this is Ohio State, and Larry Johnson has a couple pass rushers, so I think it's going to be okay. I think I will go next with Tyler Friday.
That's a solid pick. Is there a reason we are avoiding Jonathan Cooper other than the fact that he would play like 3 snaps?
That is exactly the reason I am avoiding Jonathan Cooper, because if they're going to take the 2,000 rep club thing seriously, Jonathan Cooper is probably somewhere around 4,500 reps right now. So, he's I think halfway through the first quarter, he's got a towel around his neck on the sideline and his shoulder pads off. So that is specifically the reason I'm not picking him. That is, if this was a game for the fall, I think I would have Jonathan Cooper. Jonathan Cooper would have been off the board several picks ago.
I am going with Antoine Jackson, who can play the 3 tech or nose tackle. So I'm feeling good about my first 4. Where are you going now, Tom? I already know where you're going.
I'm not sure that you do, because I'm not sure that I do. I think I'm going to go with Javonte Jean-Baptiste.
That is correct.
Okay, well, good.
you are correct with your pick.
What a relief.
I will then look at the defensive tackles here, and I can't select Jaden McKenzie because I'm pretty sure he gave me the coronavirus out in Phoenix. So I'm going to steer clear from him, as I should have done a long time ago. And I will select Noah Potter. I think he's got some potential. He had a solid spring last year.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to do some good things this week. His number is a 97, so that might be his rating, Tom, so just beware.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was going through some pictures from last year for something, and was going through some of the early games, and it was like, oh yeah, he got on the field early and actually made some plays early in the year. He's someone just to keep an eye on. Mm-hmm. Not, it's going to be hard to get on the field too early this year with as much talent as there is on that roster, but yeah, I would. I'd say he's a good pick. If you are not taking Jaden McKenzie, then you know what? I'm going to go Jerron Cage instead.
All right, you're going to try to stick me with McKenzie, and it's not going to work. Okay, just so you're aware. But I mean, Cage is a veteran at this point, or at least he's an upperclassman.
He's an upperclassman, but he's still fighting for a job. So I think he's going to be on the field a decent amount.
I am going with the intriguing Cormonte Hamilton, former tight end, and we know in the spring Buckeye tight ends stand out. We can also extrapolate from that then former Buckeye tight ends will do the same. So I like my Cormonte Hamilton pick there. We're probably going to get quite a bit of snaps there at the 3 tech.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Well, I guess I will do you a favor and take Jaden McKenzie. And
enjoy that coronavirus.
Yep.
Allegedly.
Pretty sure he didn't.
pretty sure. I'm going to take Jacoby Cowan, who is the freshman defensive end. Who I was surprised at how skinny he looked. How not like a possible future defensive tackle he looked in the spring. So I'll go there, Jacoby Cowan.
Okay. And I think, unless I'm missing someone, our last defensive lineman should be Darian Henry Young.
Other than Jonathan Cooper.
Oh, is Jonathan Cooper still on the board? Oh, well, I'll take Jonathan Cooper. I didn't realize he was still on the board. I would have taken him a couple picks ago. I'll take him. And
how long have you been drafting for the Cincinnati Bengals? That guy's still available?
If I was really drafting for the Cincinnati Bengals, I would take Justin Fields and I would trade him to you for like the 5th, 17th, and 42nd picks in the draft.
All right, then I will select Darian Henry Young and close out the defensive line. Boy, Tom, look at me. I've got Zach Harrison, Tyreek Smith, Noah Potter, Jacoby Cowan, Darian Henry, and a defensive... Oh, I've got 3 defensive tackles, but that's okay. I've got Haskell Garrett, Antoine Jackson, and Cormonte Hamilton. You have 4 defensive tackles. So what I'm going to do is I am also going to draft, even though it is your turn, I'm going to grab Zaid Hamden, the walk-on out of Cincinnati, who is a spring standout at all times, if you're okay with that. And
Absolutely.
make him my 4th defensive tackle. Tom, you only have 3 defensive ends. Are you comfortable with that? Would you like to trade one? Would you like to look at my bounty of defensive ends and offer me Tommy Togiai?
No, I'll tell you what. I think I'm going to take Aaron Cox, walk on, senior, another player who saw a decent amount of action at the end of last year. I'll take him. I think he'll be a standout for me in the third and fourth quarters.
That's good.
I am more than happy to let you try and run the ball into Tommy Togiai and Teron Vincent into the middle of the defense. Go ahead and do that, and you'll be.
I don't
see how
need
that works
to.
out for you.
I've got the 2 best quarterbacks on the roster. So now you can open up any position you would like, Tom.
I think next I'm going to go with corners, and I'm going to take Sean Wade. Even though I think he's probably not going to play a ton, I think you might get one big play out of him in that first quarter.
All right.
So I'll go ahead and take him.
I'm going to go with Cameron Brown.
Since you're clearly relying on your passing attack.
I'm going to take Cameron Brown with the 2nd pick in the. Now, are we drafting safeties here as well, or is this just corners? You said just corners, so
I think we'll just do corners.
That's fine. There's plenty here. Let's do that. All right, I'm going Cameron Brown 2nd.
Okay. I guess I'll go with Sevyn Banks.
Now, here's where it gets interesting, because Tyreek Johnson has really not shown us much. Marcus Williamson, I think, has shown more. Is that the guy I put in the slot? Legend Cavazos, Ryan Watts. Ryan Watts had some good moments in those first 3 games. He's a bigger guy who maybe could also handle the slot. You know what? I've talked myself into it. Tom, sorry, but I am going with Ryan Watts as my 2nd corner.
Wow.
I know. There's only 3 scholarship corners left on the table. So where are you going next?
I will take the veteran. I'll go with Tyreek Johnson right now. I'll take the size. I think Marcus Williamson is someone who is probably more likely to be kind of stuck in the slot. He doesn't seem like someone who's probably going to be an outside corner at any point. So I'll take Tyreek Johnson, who can potentially play both inside and outside.
All right, then I will go with Marcus Williamson because he is experienced and I have a better idea of what I'm getting than I would if I would have taken Legend Cavazos there, who is the final scholarship cornerback. So, Tom, what are you doing?
I guess I'm going to go with Legend Cavazos. I think, and Cavazos. I think I probably came away from the first practice of the spring thinking Watts was a little ahead of Cavazos. But if you're going to take Watts with your 2nd pick and I can get Cavazos with the 4th, I'll take that. I'm liking where I came out on that that one. And would you like to pick one of the walk-ons as your 4th?
Yeah, I'm going to go with let's go with Lloyd McFarquhar.
Lloyd
McFarquhar. Because he is like the top walk-on and has been around for a while.
Yes.
So that'll give me 4. And now, Tom, I am going to open the offensive line.
Yeah, I thought about that.
I just have to figure out what I am going to open with. Does Thayer Munford play much as a senior? Very important, so I doubt it. But does Josh Myers? Boy, Tom, this is a tough one. As I look through this and tried to talk while I look through it, so it's not just dead silence. Because I don't know that the top pick is necessarily wouldn't be the top guy per se. But
I have a definite top pick here. Like, not even a question. Top pick for me.
Is it Harry Miller?
I don't know. I guess you should pick, and then you'll find out. Why don't you announce your pick?
I am going to pick Josh Myers.
Okay, good pick.
As soon as I find him on this spreadsheet. All right, go ahead, Tom.
Well, while you take Josh Myers, which is a perfectly good pick, I am going to take Harry Miller, and my thinking, and he was my number one, and here's why. First time starter, I feel like you know what you're getting out of him, but also because he's a first time starter, that he's going to play a whole bunch more than a lot of the other guys. So that I think he's not necessarily the best offensive lineman on the team, but for the narrow purposes of the spring game, he might be the most valuable offensive lineman on the team because he's got both the skill level and the inexperience level that he's probably going to be good in the game for quite a while.
I think if I would have thought about it more, that's where I would have gone because there's no doubt he can. You're just going to let him play the entire game, essentially. So second, I'm going to go with Nicholas Petit-Frere, and I can put him at left tackle or right tackle depending on who I get next or later on down the line.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I'm going to take Thayer Munford because I want to have a left tackle and know that even if he just plays the first quarter, Justin Fields is going to have time. Because we haven't gotten to the wide receivers yet, but I think if Justin Fields has time, he may be able to pick on your DBs a little bit. So
you have not yet seen how good I'm going to make their awareness and their coverage. And, Justin Fields is one of the least accurate quarterbacks I've ever seen at Ohio State. So just keep that in mind as well.
Yeah. Not much arm strength either from what I've seen.
It's a bunch of arm punts. And I got a pretty good feeling my 6'3" corner can handle those. Thank you. So now that leaves me, I'm looking for some interior guys. And this is, again, Wyatt Davis, obviously. You should take him. But how much is he going to play? Like at this point, is Matthew Jones a better pick because he's going to play more, or Gavin Cupp? But then these are guys that I think maybe there's some depth on the interior. So that is why, Tom, I'm going to go get Paris Johnson.
Interesting.
So now I've got my bookends.
Interesting. Yeah, that's. I thought about Paris Johnson because he's someone, and you don't know what you have with him right now. We saw basically nothing out of him in the first practice just because they weren't really doing much of anything. And beyond that, he's had 2 practices. So what do you have there? I don't know. He could be amazing. He could be the next. I mean, we've made the irresponsible comp before.
Hey, that was his fault for being pictured with Orlando Pace.
You know who he could be the next, but we don't know if he is yet. We don't know what they have there. So I'm going to, because you're right. They have so much depth on the interior. I don't think there is a clear cut. You know what? I lied. I'm taking Wyatt Davis. Okay. Wyatt Davis will be my next pick.
Good. That way I don't have to worry about it. I should just go select DeJuan Jones so that you can't have him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would definitely be the jerky move. But
we'll see. If you don't get him with your next pick, then I might just do it out of spite. Or maybe I want to put him at right guard or left guard, Tom. Maybe I just need some height on the interior. Or maybe I just want him on field goal blocks. Or maybe he has hurt me as well, although he has hurt me in such a way that I'm just going to draft him and then sit him.
Oh,
okay?
Man, the spite pick already.
The spite pick, yes. So my next pick is, and I hope he's healthy, Matthew Jones. Because then he could also step into center when Josh Myers leaves the game.
Yep, that's
the versatility there is good.
Yes, that's it, and that's why Harry Miller is the same for me. Where if you've got to set, you could stick him in a couple different spots if you wanted to, and they probably would in this case if they have another center here. He probably starts at center and maybe they move him to guard at some point to get him some action in both spots. But yes, I'm going I am not going to tempt fate. I'm going to go ahead and take DeJuan Jones at right tackle.
Coward.
I mean, my locker room is going to be more fun than yours, I think, is my takeaway right now.
Well, maybe if I take Gavin Cupp here, then I will have Gavin Cupp and Josh Myers, who we know play
that's your beef house.
Yeah, beef house playing their garbage can ball or whatever. And Gavin Cupp is another guy who could play guard or play center for me, and he is so experienced that he's about the perfect fit for my other guard. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I might actually change the name from the Scarlet Team to the Beef House.
The Beef House. That. I mean, I can respect that. I think you've got. That's a smart pick. I like that. That was actually where I was thinking I might go next to have a veteran guard.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm going to take to make sure I've got someone at each of the 5 spots. I'm going to go with Enoch Vamahi.
Yep.
As my left guard. We saw enough of him last year that it seems like he's probably a little ahead of, like a Ryan Jacoby, some of the other younger guys on that interior. So I think I'll take him. And now I've got we both have 5 guys across the front already. So no one's going to be playing without a left tackle or anything. So that's good.
And I am going to go.
That'll help.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm going to go one more interior guy before I go get another tackle. And that's going to be Luke Whippler, who maybe I put him at center after Josh Myers is done and just keep Matthew Jones where he is, because Greg Sterdora doesn't necessarily want to have to move Matt Jones. And so I don't necessarily want to have to do it, especially if Luke Whippler is the center of the future after the center of the future, Harry Miller, is the center of the past. So I like my Luke Whippler pick, assuming he's as good as his recruiting rankings, the number 2 center in the 2020 class. We'll see. We'll get him right out there in probably the sometime in the second quarter, and we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, I like that. I like that pick a lot. That's actually where I was going to go next. So clearly you have made the correct pick. So if I'm you have taken the time to put these into some sort of board. I am just sorting the roster right now. But if I'm correct, the remaining scholarship offensive linemen are Ryan Jacoby, Trey LaRue, and Max Ray. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with Max Ray. Get the veteran. This is his 3rd year. Get me a 3rd tackle, and you can always slide him inside if you need to. 6'7" a little tall for an interior lineman, but I'll take him.
And I am going to go with Ryan Jacoby, who can also play tackle, has been a guard his entire time at Ohio State, but was a left tackle in high school. So he's got that versatility, and we know in the spring they'll move him all over. Tom, that leaves you with a pretty nice pick.
Yeah, Trey LaRue. And what number does he wear?
He knows number 69, Tom.
Yes. And he's someone who I was really looking forward to seeing this spring, because he has dropped a ton of weight. I think they said he dropped 30 pounds in the course of winter workouts. I was interested to see him. He's, like Ryan Jacoby, I don't know that Ryan Jacoby played a snap last year, and right. Trey LaRue could very well be in that, on that track to just really have, a true redshirt year. But I'm kind of interested to see what they have with him, just because he's so, he's listed 6'7", 335. He told us on signing day he could do a split. Like he can just legitimately do a split like a gymnast can. So that's just it's athletic enough, it's big enough. I'm kind of intrigued to see what they have with him to start with, and then where they go from there.
I am looking forward to the halftime show, which in the past has been quarterbacks throwing the ball as far as they can. But this year it is the offensive lineman just showing us odd things they can do. Trey LaRue will do some splits. I believe Max Ray is doing karaoke. I know another person is going to be doing some backwards somersaulting. And DeJuan Jones is going to put on a dunk contest. So, and then Gavin Cupp, I believe he is going to So
that would be extremely Henry County of him.
Even though he's from a county over, but yes,
Oh,
that is what our people do.
I couldn't remember what county Lipsick was in. That is my failure, and I apologize.
That's fine. I don't even know because I only care about Henry County.
All right. So now it's my turn. It's my turn, correct? Because you opened offensive line.
Yep, it is your turn.
All right.
Linebackers, safeties, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and long snappers.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going safeties here because I think there's a real possibility that I can take advantage of your defensive backfield if I have Josh Proctor, because I think there's Josh Proctor. I think is clearly enough the number one starter at safety that I'd feel pretty comfortable that I've got the best player on the team, but also it being his first year as a potential starter, he's probably playing a pretty good amount. So I'm going to take him to open up the safeties.
Okay. Decent pick. I'm going to go with Marcus Hooker, who has played the most of anybody else in that room. And I don't know, Tom. I don't know if you're the same way. I kind of feel like he's been overlooked. I feel comfortable with him back there, and it's not necessarily because of his brother being Malik Hooker, but the staff seemed to trust him last year at times, and maybe it was because he was the only safety left. But I don't know. I get maybe it's a false sense of security with him, but against your quarterbacks, I think he's going to do just fine.
And I'm right there with you because I was hoping you would talk yourself into someone else and I could steal him as the second pick because I do think he's just. I mean, we got to watch exactly one practice this spring, so we should draw a ton of conclusions from that. Mm-hmm. But we saw him jump a route,
true,
and pick off, and it was like, oh, there's a little bit of Malik Hooker in there for sure, and just a sophomore, he's got some time. Yeah, I think that's a real good pick. Behind him, there are three other scholarship players, and I could make a case for picking any of the three of them.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Ronnie Hickman, though. I think Ronnie Hickman it's an upside play for me. I don't know that he's necessarily ahead of Bryson Shaw. We saw Bryson Shaw playing a decent amount in the practice we saw as well. But the coaches talk up Ronnie Hickman enough, just in terms of awareness and in terms of being, knowing what he's supposed to be doing and, being a standout in the film room that I'll take my chances. He did not play at all last year, but I'll take my chances with him this spring.
Yeah, that's who I would have gone with as well. And you said Bryson Shaw. I mean, we saw him playing in the slot a little bit this spring in Sean Wade's old position.
Yes.
But we also saw Court Williams playing some deep safety, so that's where I am going. The possible future bullet, but getting a look at safety. And we saw it last year, 2019, where they played a lot of just two deep safeties, and we didn't really see necessarily their full defense until the season. So maybe if there is more two deep safety, and even if not, Court Williams is a fine, strong safety closer to the line of scrimmage. So I'm going Court Williams, which leaves. I mean, maybe you'll take Kevin Dever.
I'll take Bryson Shaw. I'm perfectly happy to take Bryson Shaw. I thought there was a pretty good chance I would end up with Court Williams as well. But as Bryson Shaw is my third safety. Yep, I am perfectly content with that. That those are Proctor, Hickman, and Shaw. I feel reasonably confident that you're not going to have a huge day throwing the ball.
That's pretty good. But Josh Proctor may only play like 2 or 3 snaps now before he gets pulled because he's the starter. So Tom, I don't know about that pick.
As someone who did not start last year, I think we're going to get more of him than you would have out of a lot of guys. He's the Harry Miller of the safety room to me.
All right, makes sense. All right, and then I'm going to take walk-on Kevin Dever, who I'd always called Dever before, but then I saw on Twitter himself calling himself Kevin Dever. So,
well, I mean,
he would know.
Do you just have one source on this?
Well, that's true. That's true. Okay, Kevin Dever. Who am I supposed to believe? Me or him? Right? So yeah, that's my 3 safeties: Marcus Hooker, Court Williams, Kevin Dever. You got Josh Proctor, Ronnie Hickman, Bryson Shaw. I'm not afraid to give you the nod there. But we don't need to talk about it.
That sound you heard was just Gerd realizing, oh no, I can't throw the ball on him and I can't run the ball on him.
So what I should do then is just go and draft the best receivers. And holy crap, there's a bunch of receivers. So
and if you haven't figured out why certain positions are going off the board before other positions are, there are a boatload of talented wide receivers. And so you're going to, both of us are going to end up with 3 or 4 very good wide receivers. Both of us are going to end up with 3 or 4 linebackers we're perfectly happy with. So that's why those 2 positions haven't gone off the board. And running back, there are 2 healthy scholarship running backs. So one of us is going to get one and one of us is going to get the other.
So then I'm looking like, well, how much is Chris Olave going to play? So let's go ahead and open up the receivers. I have made that decision. How much is Chris Olave going to play? There's no reason not to play him quite a bit because they still need to. There's not a lot of outside receivers with experience, and he is one, but there's no reason for him to sit for much time. But yeah, I'm going to take Chris Olave, number 1 of the receivers, and that is locked in.
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, and the reason
you just lost. Game over.
The reason I didn't go with Garrett Wilson is because I'm probably too biased in my my like of Jackson Smith and Jigba, but then also Jalen Gill. So like, there's a number of inside receivers that I think are talented, and that is why I can't take Smith and Jigba already, especially when Jalen Gill is out there. But the thing is, and here's the thing, Tom. Jalen Gill has not done much in the regular season, but he is great in the spring. Like he is productive in the spring. Man, I don't like the way these drafts are going for me today.
That's because you're losing. Go on.
That's not neither here nor there, Tom. But I do need to go get me an inside receiver. But I could also just go get Julian Fleming as my ex. And that's, what am I doing? But I just did it. There's plenty of inside receivers. I'll go get one next. All right, I just want to get my outside guys. And it's not like you're going to take him.
The Cleveland Browns have selected Julian Fleming.
I guess I probably shouldn't have talked to his coach just like a week ago and had him tell me how great he is. But all right, go ahead, Tom.
I am going to go with. It would be a real jerk move for me to take Jackson Smith and Jigba right now. It would be a really jerky move. I'm gonna be nice, and I'm gonna take Jameson Williams.
That's the best pick right there, Jameson
because
Williams.
It is the best pick.
He's gonna play.
It's not the spiteful pick. It's the smart pick. Mm-hmm. But he's got the speed. He's got the size to be, he can be one of the outside receivers. Mm-hmm. I've got Garrett Wilson in the slot. And so if I've got Jameson Williams matched up against Cameron Brown, Garrett Wilson against Marcus Williamson, I think I'm going to take my chances there.
You just got to find a quarterback that can throw it to him.
Yeah, Justin Fields. We'll see what Justin Fields is like when he gets out on the field. We don't have any data to know if he's any good or not.
Nope. And now here's the worst part, Tom. I'm probably going to take Jalen Gill. So then I wouldn't even get like Jackson Smith and Jigba, but that's okay because Jalen Gill is the top guy in the slot, arguably above Garrett Wilson.
You can argue lots of stuff.
I just feel like this is snowballing out of control for me. But I am taking Jalen Gill.
And there's a couple possibilities here for me. You never want to lean too heavily on a freshman wide receiver. Mm-hmm. I think that's asking for trouble. But I'm thinking back to last year and thinking back to Garrett Wilson having a touchdown catch in the spring game last year, and I think I have talked myself into doing the Jackson Smith and Jigba thing. I'll go ahead and take him, and Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'll figure out how to line them up later.
And we're going to take Cameron Babb off the board in case you hadn't already, because he is injured.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Then I'm going to go with the emerging leader of the group, Jalen Harris.
Oh, that's where I was going next. That's a good pick.
Threat, and that still allows me another good pick coming up once you decide what you are going to do. I like the Jalen Harris thing. That's probably drafted the 7th round among the receivers. Kind of an insult to him, but that's our fault.
Well, and he was going to be my next pick as well, and he's someone who, probably realistically should have gone certainly before Julian Fleming.
You think so?
Just he's this. I mean, his 4th year in the program, and he's still playing for something, and he's got the size. Like he's someone that if I had him, I would set the over/under on touchdowns for him at an even 1. Like I think you could see him scoring a couple touchdowns if he was on my team. Your team, no. I mean, he's not obviously not. None of your wide receivers are going to do anything, but. I was feeling pretty good about having Jalen Harris on my team. So I will take, in lieu of him, I will take G. Scott as my to give me another big body outside.
And so now here, do I want to go with the 3 scholarship receivers left? Mookie Cooper, a freshman, C.J. Saunders, the opposite of a freshman, and Elijah Gardner. 2 slot guys and an outside guy. I've got 3 outside guys and 1 slot guy, so I need to go get another. Do you go get the consistent, you know what you're going to get with C.J. Saunders? Or do you go with Mookie Cooper, who they'll throw a swing pass out to, and it might go 15 yards, or it might be a loss of 5? So, I've already got 1 freshman. If I sit you with, if you've got like 3 freshmen over there, they're going to be running the wrong routes. I mean, they won't even be knowing. But the thing there, though, is your quarterbacks are so inaccurate, the wrong routes probably turn out okay. But I'm going to go C.J. Saunders here and leave you either Elijah Gardner, Mookie Cooper, or Chris Booker, the walk-on from the OSU club team, who Ryan Day is a fan of.
Yep. I'm going to go Elijah Gardner here.
Okay.
I think I need another outside receiver. I've got Jameson Williams. I've got G. Scott, but I've already got a couple guys who I could play in the slot for sure. Garrett Wilson could certainly go outside, but I'll go ahead and take the extra big body outside. Elijah Gardner, 6'3", 200 pounds, junior. He's very, in all the stuff that makes me intrigued by Jalen Harris. Like, I'll say all the same stuff for Elijah Gardner. Experienced, been in the system, has a big enough frame that he can be a jump ball guy. And I'll go ahead and take my chances with him. I think he could do something for me in much the same way I would have said that about Jalen Harris.
All right, then I will select Mookie Cooper. And Tom, if you would like to grab a walk-on of your choice, with what is like a service merchandise gift certificate.
I gotta tell you, of all the guys on this roster, Sam Wigloos always tends to show out a little bit. I'm gonna go
especially
with him.
In the spring.
Yep,
you're right about that. So Tom, did I open up the receivers?
Yes, you did, because you picked Chris Olave. You may be confused that you opened up the receivers and I somehow ended up with Garrett Wilson, but that is how it worked. So. Tight ends, I am going to take Jeremy Ruckert.
All right. Okay. Let me get there. See, the thing is, when we get these positions where there's like 5 of them and you draft first, you know you're going to make out better. And here there's at least there's 4 scholarship guys. So
yes,
makes me feel a little bit better. You are taking Jeremy Ruckert. I will take the best tight end, who is Luke Fickell, and I'm sorry, Luke, you're going to have to play. All right. Now he is also, I believe, a member of Beef House. So,
I just as a point of order, I would like to point out that you just drafted the University of Cincinnati's head coach.
Did I say Fickell?
You probably meant Luke Farrell.
I'm reading Luke Farrell. Yes.
You took Luke Fickell, so I'm going to take Luke Farrell, and you're going to have to.
I don't need any more nose tackles.
He's like 42, and I don't think he's got. I mean, okay, fine. We'll let you have Luke Farrell.
Luke Farrell is 36, so
yeah, that's true. That's true. I am going to go with Jake Houseman as my second tight end. I think that'll be a good, big-bodied. I mean, Cade Stover is intriguing, and he will be who you end up with your next pick, I'm guessing, unless you go with Corey Raw, which you could. But Jake Houseman, I think, gives me a little bit of extra help on the end. You've got some strong defensive ends, and DeJuan Jones and Thayer Munford, and then if I get into the backup tackles, you've got some pretty good pass rushers. So I'm going to have just a little bit extra blocking help on the edge.
Not a bad pick, and I will pick Cade Stover, who I have long called the rich man's Jeremy Ruckert. He's farm strong, he's farm fast, which I know a lot of people I've never heard farm fast, but yeah, that's a thing. So he is all of that, a natural athlete, unlike Jeremy Ruckert, who is slow and plodding.
Okay.
So I like that. I think I've made up for the receiver snafu, if there was one. And as we know, that the tight ends is where the spring happens. And having Luke Farrell and Cade Stover.
Yeah. If you're gonna sink a lot of time and effort into your tight ends, the spring is when it's gonna happen. So
all right, and so that leaves me to open up kickers, linebackers, or long snappers,
or punters.
Do you remember? I don't know. It might have been like 2004 when Jim Tressel had his teams drafting the spring game. And they drafted, I believe, A.J. Trapasso, number 1 overall. So maybe like 2005 or 2006.
B1G.
They're saying it's the most important game, most important play in football. But I don't know if they actually punted in that game. I don't know that they will punt much in this game. And it doesn't matter because it's a spring. And Tom, now, are we the coaches? Because if so, there is no punting.
I mean, I'm not going to punt. I mean, I can tell you that.
But also seeing Michael O'Shaughnessy's trick shots, I might take him over Drew Chrisman anyway. If we're talking about punters who do trick shots, the versatility of O'Shaughnessy, but we've got plenty of time to talk about that. I am going to open up running backs. Where I
was hoping you'd forgotten that running backs were a position.
No, and who am I going to open up with? You said there's 2 scholarship guys.
Yeah, Marcus Crowley is hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Master Teague is hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got your choice of Demario McCall, Steele Chambers, or walk-ons Xavier Johnson, Mitch Rossi, or Robert Cope.
I'm going to go with Demario because he can catch out of the backfield, and there's not a lot of running in the spring anyway. And Tom, wheel routes are undefeated. Your slow linebackers, whoever they're going to be, I know they're going to be slow, aren't going to be able to hold up. And we know you have no safety help. So I'm going to go with Demario McCall. Now you can do whatever you want at running back.
I'm going to go a little off the board here and go with the only other scholarship running back. I'll go with Steele Chambers. And Steele Chambers, I think, looked pretty promising last year.
I agree.
In the limited, and we didn't see a ton of him last year because they kept him as a redshirt freshman. But he put together, like, he showed some flashes. And if Marcus Crowley was healthy, Marcus Crowley would have been my pick there. If Marcus Crowley was healthy, Marcus Crowley probably would have been your pick there. But Steele Chambers last year, 19 carries, 135 yards, 7.1 per carry. And only had a long of 15, so it wasn't like he, had a 70-yarder in there that really skewed the numbers. And he was in there kind of late in the games, but he he looked impressive to me. So I'll take my chances with him for sure.
If everybody was healthy, who would you have taken first?
If everyone was healthy, I probably would have taken Master Teague first.
Yeah, I think it would be tough between Teague and Crowley. I think Crowley's running style seems to suit the spring better, where it's like nothing is great and he runs hard. And not that Master Teague doesn't. I feel like Crowley does better with junk, maybe, like when it's all junked up, and I don't know if that's Master Teague, but that's an interesting thought. Good question, Tom. Where are you going to go now?
Well, you have then. Are we
done.
picking
I'll take. Well, you know what?
Walker?
I am going to take Xavier Johnson because he is very good, and I don't want to skip that pick.
Yeah. And I think I feel like Mitch Rossi is probably ahead of Robert Cope, so I'll go with him as my second back,
and also a solid blocker.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Good size. All right. So the position groups that are left are linebackers, place kickers, punters, and long snappers. And there are two very solid punters on the roster. But I feel like there's a pretty big drop off after the first kicker. So I'm going to take Blake Haubiel as my kicker.
All right. I will select Dominic DiMaccio because he's been on the team for a while and he has actually kicked before. Mm-hmm. And he will be kicking. I mean, all I'm going to be asking is 8 to 9 extra points. Like, Dominic, can you give me 8 to 9 extra points? And if he's like, I can give you 7, I'm like, that's fine. I can take 7.
That's fine. That's enough. That's fine.
Enough. That's plenty. So, yeah, I like that. So now I get to open up the next position and see if it's a big position like linebackers. There's so many. I feel like I should have done a mock draft, Tom. Earlier today, I should have mocked this out, but I didn't. So I almost feel like I should just let you open linebacker so that you can make the first mistake, but then you probably wouldn't because you said you didn't do any preparation, but I know you did because you were a liar.
The fun part of this is if we take the seniors at linebacker, then everyone will roll their eyes. But if we don't take the seniors, then everyone will take it as a sign that we secretly think they're all bad. So that's why I want you to pick the linebackers first.
All right, well, let's just have some fun. Let's open the linebackers. And here's my thinking is I need to go get the best middle linebacker who's going to play the most. And that's not Tough Borland. We know his backup is Dallas Gant. So if you're like, I'm taking Dallas Gant number 1 of the linebackers, that people are going to look at you like, what? And it's like, well, yes, I am doing it. I'm taking Dallas Gant. Let me think about it. Because if I don't, then Tommy Eichenberg is the next. Because how much is Tough Borland going to play? Not that anybody would, people will yell at you. And not that I'm worried about what people are going to say about my team. But Tough Borland probably isn't going to play. But this is a defense that guys can shift in and out. So instead, what I'm going to do, Tom, I'm going to take Taraja Mitchell.
Ooh, all right. That's good.
Because he could play the Will, he could play the Mike. I know he's only been at Will, but I mean it's just shifting over a little bit if he needs to play the Mike, which I'm not saying he will. Because as Al Washington told me this winter, even if I do get stuck with Tommy Eichenberg, and it's not being stuck, he said he's a ball player and he's legit. And so whatever, if it happens, it happens. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and take Dallas Gant.
Damn it!
I like your logic. I'm on board with your logic. I'm on board with your thinking. I'm looking at. He's obviously not the guy who, if you were drafting for the first game, would be my first pick. But
different strategy.
I think the guys who would be my first picks for the fall are probably going to play about 10 snaps in the spring game. So they'll get picked a little later. So, yep, I'll take Dallas Gant right there.
Then I will take Kayvon Pope.
Excellent pick.
Yeah, because I don't think you need another middle linebacker, so I can wait a little bit on Tommy Eichenberg, unless you take him right now, in which case it's kind of a jerk move. But
it would be kind of a jerk move. I'm going to go with Baron Browning here.
All right, I like that. Get him some experience of rushing the edge as well.
Yeah, I mean he's because he was repping at the Will this spring, right? I'm remembering that correctly.
Well, yeah, Will and Sam.
Okay, yeah. So neither of those are plays. I mean, Sam especially is not a place where he's played a lot. So you got to figure he's going to be on the field a decent amount. He's been on the team. He's a senior this year, but I feel like he's not quite established enough of a starter to, that he would get like Pete Werner snaps. Like, so I think I'm going to put him. I'll take him, and I mean, I will give this to you. You did have the first pick, but I think your first two are every bit as good as mine, which is a tribute to you. You have not messed this position up. Good job.
So here we got Pete Werner left, Tuff Borland, Craig Young, Tommy Eichenberg, Justin Hilliard. 5 guys, and Werner, Borland, Hilliard may not play much. But if Pete Werner is playing the Will now, they might want him to get a few more snaps. But I already have Taraji Mitchell and Kayvon Pope in that realm. So I am going to have to go, and I'll let you figure it out. I got to go get my middle linebacker and Tommy Eichenberg.
Yeah, and I'm just making this all work on my head right now. I'll take Pete Werner. I'll go ahead and take him, even though he's not going to play a ton. I'll take the veteran now, and I'm going to end up with at least one more good scholarship player.
Yeah.
So we'll have enough. This is why this got pushed so far down the draft. There's enough depth here that even as the person who had the second pick and spending my third pick on someone who's going to play like 2 drives, there's still enough depth here to field a good unit. So that's why this was one of the last ones picked.
And now do I draft experience in Tuff Borland or Justin Hilliard, or do I go with the unknown of Craig Young, who will play a lot because he needs it? That's a great question, but instead I am going to go, or Tom, do you go with Justin Hilliard, knowing that he wants as much playing time as possible? Because if you don't give him much playing time, he might want to transfer. So do you draft him and play him the entire time and risk just like running him into the ground? I don't think they would do that, because that is insane and stupid. So maybe you might do that.
I have to tell you, I think there's an extremely clear decision here. And whatever you pick, I'm going to say that wasn't it. But there's definitely a clear choice here.
I am going with I'm going to go with Craig Young, because he can play
outside. No, that's the wrong decision.
Oh. No. What should I have done, Tom?
See, I would have gone with Justin Hilliard there.
All right.
And I think that you're, and I just realized that Tuff Borland is the last pick of the linebacker. I know. And all of our listeners are going, I knew it. And again, friends, there's thinking that goes in with the spring game that does not go on with the whole season. Justin Hilliard, though, he is someone who is still kind of fighting for a starting job, but also he gives you that veteran presence. Mm-hmm. I feel like I've picked a few of these guys where, he's obviously a 6th-year senior, but similar to the Harry Miller or the Josh Proctor, where it's like, this is a guy who probably has a role, and he's still going to get a lot of reps in the spring game. He's not going to play 2 drives and that's it. So, yeah, I think that Justin Hilliard is the correct pick there.
I have no problem with that, and then I will go ahead and take Tuff Borland, who will play a couple of series, show Tommy Eichenberg how it's done, and then relinquish the reins to the future middle linebacker of the Ohio State football program. I see you've got what looks to be more starters, or you could see any of those 4 guys starting.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with the Buckeyes, maybe Duff Borland is the only real starter there. But I'm also drafting for guys who are going to play more in the spring game. And when people look at our rosters, they may not think about it like I am. And like you're not. You're just looking at flashy stuff. You're like, ooh, you're a star chaser, Tom. You're a stargazer. I am looking at minutes. So that's where I am. Are you opening up the next position?
I am opening up the next position. And I am all about flash. I am all about style. I am all about, style over substance. That's why I'm taking long snapper Rowan McCullough as my next pick. So now I've got the starting kicker and the starting long snapper. And I hope you like getting your kicks blocked because I have
DeJuan Jones.
I have DeJuan Jones on my team. So it's just you're just gonna be getting kicks volleyballed back into your face all day. So have fun with that.
We will. It'll be fine. I will take Bradley Robinson, the former Michigan State Spartan, who also has a brother that is a long snapper at Michigan, and I feel good. I know you say Rowan McCullough is going to start. We don't know that, Tom. We don't know that because we did not have a spring ball. All right, and so the job is completely up for grabs. It's just a shame that really like long snapping is something you can only do in a team environment, like out on a field. So we'll see whoever comes back having not lost their ability to snap, and that person will win the job. So that leaves me, Tom, to open up punter.
I really like the fact that in a draft that we opened saying we're doing it Jim Tressel style, punter is the last group picked.
Yeah, how Tressel style is this?
We've really lost our way.
Even though, although, Drew Crispin, ever since he got engaged, I think he lost a little something. But I'm going to take Drew Crispin with my first pick among the punters, leaving you with either Zach Hoover or Michael O'Shaughnessy, and I haven't seen Zach Hoover post a single trick shot video. So
yeah, I'm going with Michael O'Shaughnessy, and honestly, the spot that I'm most devastated there is Drew Crispin can't be my holder. That's really too bad because I really had a special teams dynamo brewing there.
You had a battery.
I did, but yeah, and in retrospect, I probably should have taken punter a little earlier, just to keep that special teams because these games a lot of times they're close, come right down to last second in a kick. I would feel pretty good about the presumptive starting long snapper, holder, and place kicker all being on the same team.
Well, Tom, don't worry about this game being close, okay? Because remember, I am creating the rosters. Although, as I recall, there are only, 75 roster spots in the game? Is that correct?
Something like that.
I suppose I could use 2 different teams rather than just Ohio State. I'll make your team say, I'll use Michigan for your team. Or any other gray-based team. I don't know. UNLV instead, maybe.
UNLV would be a good choice. Yeah, just looking through. Let's read through the rosters real quick, and we'll go head to head on these, just in case people haven't been writing things down at home, which I'm sure they have. Quarterbacks: Justin Fields and C.J. Stroud for me, Gunnar Hoke and Jack Miller for you. Running backs: Steele Chambers and Mitch Rossi for me, Demario McCall and Xavier Johnson for you.
Pretty good.
Wide receivers: Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams, Jackson Smith and Jigba, G. Scott, Elijah Gardner and Sam Wiglusz for me, Chris Olave, Julian Fleming, Jalen Gill, Jalen Harris, C.J. Saunders, and Mookie Cooper for you. Tight ends: Jeremy Ruckert and Jake Hausman for me, Luke Farrell and Cade Stover for you. Offensive line for me: Thayer Munford, Trey LaRue, Enoch Vamahi, Harry Miller, Wyatt Davis, DeJuan Jones, Max Ray. For you is Paris Johnson, Matthew Jones, Josh Myers, Luke Whippler, Gavin Cupp, Ryan Jacoby, Nick Petit-Frere.
That's good.
My defensive line: Tommy Togiai, Teron Vincent, Tyler Friday, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, Jerron Cage, Jaden McKenzie, Jonathan Cooper, Aaron Cox. You've got Zach Harrison, Haskell Garrett, Tyreek Smith, Antoine Jackson, Noah Potter, Cormonte Hamilton, Jacoby Cowan, Darian Henry Young, and Zayd Hampton.
That's good.
Linebackers, I've got Dallas Gant, Baron Browning, Pete Werner, and Justin Hilliard. You've got Taraja Mitchell, Kayvon Pope, Tommy Eichenberg, Craig Young, and Tuff Borland. Corners, I've got Sean Wade, Seven Banks, Tyreek Johnson, Legend Cavazos. You've got Cameron Brown, Ryan Watts, Marcus Williamson, and Lloyd McFarquhar. Safeties, Josh Proctor, Ryan Hickman, and Bryson Shaw for me. Marcus Hooker, Court Williams, and Kevin Deaver for you. Blake Hallbeal as my kicker. Dominic DiMaccio for you. Michael O'Shaughnessy as my punter. Drew Chrisman is yours. Rowan McCullough as my long snapper. Bradley Robinson is yours. Gerd, which position is the biggest mismatch here?
You clearly have something in mind, so if you've got something to say, Tom, go ahead and say it. I don't feel great about the safety situation.
I'll
say that.
Yeah.
But everywhere else, I mean, I think I match up. Now the quarterback, all right, not great, but I think we will surprise. But I feel fine everywhere else with the reminder that Jalen Gill is amazing in the spring. Jalen Harris has looked good in the spring as well. I've never seen G. Scott or Jackson Smith and Jigba do a single thing in the spring, other than when they were really awesome in that first day that we saw them. I forgot about that part. But prior springs,
they did the thing. Yeah.
Other springs before this year, I have never seen them do anything at Ohio State. Go ahead, say what you got to say. Is there something?
Well, my biggest concern on my team is interior line depth. I've got no one behind Wyatt Davis and no one behind Harry Miller, so you're getting into walk-ons there pretty early, especially for Wyatt Davis. But you've got no one behind your tackles, and I think that I've got Tyler Friday, I got Javonte Jean-Baptiste, I got Jonathan Cooper, so I think I've got people who can get around whoever your backup tackles are.
Well, so you're talking about my defensive tackles?
No, your backup offensive line.
Yeah,
unless Paris Johnson and Nick Petit-Frere are playing the whole game.
Yeah, heck yeah, they're fighting for jobs, Tom. All right, they're fighting for their lives. They're fighting for jobs. If one of them would be like, you know what, I think I've done enough, Coach. I'll be like, have you? Then get out of here. Just go straight to the locker room. If you're done, go straight to the locker room. Leave your uniform. Leave your street clothes, because we paid for those, and then call your mom, call your dad, tell them to bring you a change of clothes, and then get out of my stadium. If you can't play an entire fake spring game, you're trash. I don't need you.
I could definitely hear Ryan Day saying all of those words in that exact order, for sure. I think my biggest concern is Thayer Munford. How much is he going to play?
Not much.
And then I've got DeJuan Jones, Max Ray, and Trey LaRue to choose from as a backup tackle.
How do you feel about that Max Ray, Trey LaRue thing?
Yeah, I assume that Zach Harrison is going to be lining up over one of them at some point for a decent chunk of the second quarter, and I don't feel great about that. I got to be honest.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't feel real great about Zach Harrison against anyone except for maybe Thayer Munford. But so Thayer Munford gets my quarterback through the first quarter alive, and then after that, not Zach Harrison and Tyreek Smith. I'm not feeling great about that.
Yeah, that's why I think right there, pass defense starts with the pass rush. I don't even need corners.
Well, it's a good thing because
I don't need safeties either. Oh no. I think with Zach Harrison, because again, he's fighting for a job. He is playing every snap. There's no rotation on my defense.
Yeah, I think that is my biggest concern. That's the area where I think you have a pretty clear advantage is your defensive ends against my offensive tackles. Because my wide receivers against your defensive backs, I'm feeling very good, extremely good. Mm-hmm. And I've got Justin Fields on my team, and I've got Steel Chambers on my team, and I've got Jeremy Ruckert on my team. I feel like I'm scoring a whole bunch of points if Justin Fields gets time.
I like my offensive line, and we know I don't see a weak link per se. Whereas I look at your offensive line, and I see stink lines. There's flies and stink lines.
Thayer Munford, Enoch Mahi, Harry Miller, Wyatt Davis, Dewan Jones. I'm feeling okay there. It's just, and this is true of every spring game ever. Once you get past the first, you divide the offensive line into two somewhat even units. As soon as you get past those first five guys at each team, it gets a little like collar tug, like maybe, possibly.
Also, Tom, I am coaching my offensive line to cut block and to chop block. So just keep that in mind, because Tommy Togiai and whoever else you got in the middle there, Teron Vincent, they might just be playing one quarter as well.
Even if they came in planning to play 2 or 3.
Exactly.
Just going for the knees. Yeah.
Watch your knees, suckers. I'm playing to win.
Yeah. If you play this out on with reasonably constructed rosters, I think I would make myself about a 4.5 point favorite.
Okay. I mean, you've got, I think home field's advantage gives you 3 points right there.
That's true. That's true.
That does help you. The Hoke field advantage is like a point. So not nearly as much as the home field's advantage. Tom, not a bad draft by you. I like your corners, but I think I'll be okay with Cameron Brown, Ryan Watson, Marcus Williamson, and Lloyd McFarquhar, who he's a fighter. I've seen him get hurt and and then get yelled at to get back out on the field. So, and he did with this Renegade program that we watch. But I feel pretty good. I don't feel great, but I am confident in my coaching ability and my ability to make the rosters. Wink.
Rig the game. That's the phrase you're looking for. Rig the game. I'm confident in my ability to rig the game sufficiently that I can overcome your superior roster and win.
No, I will not. I will rate them as I see as I see them. And if Tom, you want to give me some input, that is not warranted.
I was just thinking I should have had him rate all the players beforehand. But then you would have known. It would have been like Justin Fields 40 overall. No. You pick quarterback first. It's okay.
So that will wrap it up for this edition of the spring game draft. And like we said, we'll have more coverage coming later in the week of what is sure to be the biggest sporting event going on this week, Tom.
Yeah, my suggestion to you is, look, this is all a little stupid. That's okay. Go ahead Saturday morning at like 10 a.m. Go sit out on your front porch. I don't even know what the forecast is like because it doesn't matter. There's not actually a football game going on. Go sit out on your front porch, crack open a beer, listen to the pregame show, close your eyes. It'll be fine. It'll be just like there's a game going on. And I said to Gerd, when the Cleveland Browns went away in the late 90s, they still did the Browns radio network still did pregame shows live from the Muni lot every week. So I think it's the least we can do.
We'll be live from the Ohio State press box. Tom, don't forget the crowbar.
We're definitely going to get maced if we go into the Ohio State press box this weekend.
All right. We want to thank you all for listening. Continue to stay home. I think it's doing well. It's working. It's kind of boring at times, but you can walk around, right, Tom? You're like you're doing.
Yeah. Just keep your space, keep your distance, but yeah, nothing. There's nothing that says you can't go outside, get a little sunshine and fresh air. I was talking to a friend today while we were out. I was out for a walk and bumped into someone we knew. And I said, it's interesting. All the people who seem to be miserable right now are all the people who are just like sitting inside of apartments and not going anywhere. And all the people who are getting out and getting some fresh air and exercise, it's like, oh, this isn't so bad. It's like, yeah, well, that's your choice. You can do this however you want to do it. But you can go out and go for a nice walk or go for a nice jog and just stay 6 feet away from everyone and you'll be fine.
Absolutely. So thank you all for listening. We will talk to you later in the week. Have a good one.
Well, she threw away the motel key. I wish it never meant nothing to me. Say you will, now say you will. Oh yeah. Say you will, now say you will. If you tell me that tomorrow's alright, we could steal a car and leave tonight. Cause I know things just haven't been right. This feeling's getting stronger. I can't take it any longer. Say you will, now say you will. Oh yeah. Say you will, now say you will. If you tell me that tomorrow's alright, steal a car and leave tonight. Tomorrow